Let's just take a quick look at different types of slopes here. Slopes that go upward from left to right, everything we do in math, we want to do from left to right. So from left to right, if it goes up, then that's going to be a positive slope. Okay, so positive slopes would actually match up that when we're looking at our m equals, when we find the slope in this equation, when we have an m equals, m could be equal to 1, m could be equal to 2/3, the fraction. Okay, it's got a positive number that the slope is equal to. A negative slope is a slope that goes downward from left to right. So it gives us a negative slope. When we find the slope of the problem, it's going to be equal to -1. Slope is equal to -3/5. You could have a slope equal to an improper fraction too, like -6/5. That would be fine too. Okay, so improper fractions are okay, both positive and negative. When we get to a horizontal line, we want to remember this idea of Vuxhoy. Okay, vertical lines have undefined slopes and their x equals equations. Horizontal lines have zero slopes and their y equals equations. And so when I do a horizontal line, a line that goes straight left to right, it has a zero slope. If you substituted the word zero with the word no or none, then I would accept that. That'd be okay. It's better for you to know the word zero. It's got a zero slope. Okay? And that, again, comes from down here in the Hoy part of Vuxhoy. It's a horizontal line, has a zero slope, and it's a y equals equation. So when I find the slope, it's got to be 0. Okay, the slope comes out to be 0. In a vertical line, that's the Vux part of Vuxhoy. Vertical lines have undefined slopes and their x equals equations. I will not accept anything except the word undefined. It's an undefined slope. Okay, a vertical line has an undefined slope. So some ways that you may want to try to remember this is if you're in an airplane. If you're in an airplane going left to right, if you're in the airplane and you're going on this line, you're going up. Okay, that's going to be positive. If you're in an airplane and you're going on this line, you're going down. That's a negative. If you're in an airplane and you're on this line, nothing's happening. You're just flying straight. Nothing's happening. There's a zero slope. And if you're in an airplane and you're going this way, that means that you're going to be in trouble because you're crashing. You're going straight down. There's no chance for you to make a positive landing. You're going to crash headfirst into the ground. Or I guess you could look at it as going this way too. If you're going straight up, if you go to an air show and you watch planes go straight up, they stall themselves. Okay, so planes stall when they go straight up, just like your car would stall sometimes if you're going straight up a hill and you're driving a clutch type thing. Okay, so vertical lines are undefined. They're problem lines. So there's something that's wrong with that line. It's going straight up and down. Okay, it's a perfectly good line for us to use. We draw pictures with them. We have things in real life that actually happen that cause vertical lines to happen. But in terms of when we're talking about their slope, it has an undefined slope. So let's take a look at our problems here. This problem is number 1. It's y equals, let me just write it here, 2x minus 3. So y equals 2x minus 3. Things that I want to find in here, I want to find the slope, and I want to find the y-intercept, which we labeled as b. So we were working on that in the last worksheet. We want to find that again on this one. Okay, so the slope and the y-intercept. So the slope of this problem is again the number that's in front of the x value. Okay, so the slope is 2. We want it to be a fraction, so we're going to put it as 2 over 1. Then we want the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the constant at the end. It has the sign that's in front of it, so the y-intercept is -3. That's an ordered pair. It's x equals 0 and y equals -3, so that we can graph it here. So that's the starting point when I do a graph. So we talked about finding those things last time. Now we're actually going to graph it. So we start here, and this tells us how we move. Okay, so we start, that's pretty easy. We start at y equals -3. Well, on the graph, that's right there, y equals -3. Okay, so that's our y-intercept. how we move tells us the slope is the change in y over change in x. Some of you might remember that as rise over run. Okay, so either one of those, I don't care which one you remember, but that's how you need to remember it. So rise over run. So we rise 2 and run 1. So rise 2 and run 1. Okay, rise 2 and run 1. Rise 2 and run 1. Okay, and so that's what our line looks like. And then I just try to draw as straight a line as you can. That one was not very straight. I will try to do better. In fact, I'm going to redo that line. Okay, that's a better line. So draw the straight line. We want it to be straight line because we're going to actually be using other points on the lines when we are going through this. So make sure that you're drawing straight lines through each of these. Now, if you went and put arrows at the ends of these, this line goes on forever to the left and to the right. Okay, I could have kept going in either direction, finding that slope. I just would have eventually ran out of graph paper. So let's go to the next one. This is y equals 1/3 x. I don't know why these came out so blurry here. Y equals 1/3 x. So I want to find the m and the b, the y-intercept and the slope. So the slope is the number that's in front of the x. So the number that's in front of the x, and I want it to be a fraction, so it already is a fraction, so that's good. The b is the number that constant at the end. Well, if there's nothing at the end, then the constant at the end is 0. I could put plus 0 on here because I'm not adding anything. I'm putting a 0. Okay, so the y-intercept in this problem is at 0. We're at the origin. Now, again, the slope tells us change in y over change in x. Some of you remember it as rise over run. So I rise 1 and run 3. So I rise 1 and run 3. Okay, now I have 2 points to find a line, so I could draw a line in here just fine. I also want to keep in mind that if I made this -1 over -3, -1 over -3 is also 1/3. Okay, it comes out to be the same decimal. If you typed it in the calculator, negative divided by a negative makes a positive. Okay, all of those things stay in mind. So I could run down 1 and left 3 as well, and I could get a line that's a little bit more accessible in terms of me drawing it perfectly straight and representing what I want it to represent. Okay, and so I can do either one of those. I could have drawn the line with just 2 points, but it would be better if I have 3 in order to do that. So let's draw the line in there, and there you go. That's our equation for y equals 1/3 x. I had a plus 0 at the end, and I could make a couple extra points on it. Number 10, I want to find the slope and the y-intercept. So the slope is the number in front of the x. Number in front of the x is -1/2. Now that negative either goes on the top or on the bottom. It does not go on both, either the top or the bottom. Okay, so do not put it out front. If you put it out front, you sometimes get caught. They put it out front because it's easier to type that way. But you should put it either on the top or on the bottom. So I can put it as -1 over 2 or 1 over -2. Both of those come out to be the same thing. Okay? And that'll help me do my moving too when I go through and move in this equation. So then the y-intercept here is the plus 3. And so the y-intercept is plus 3. So I go, and that's my starting point. I start at plus 3. Now my run, or my rise over run, my slope, my change in y over change in x, I run depending on which one I'm going to look at. Let's look at this one first. So I go, it says rise down 1. Okay, so I go down 1 for the rise and right 2 for the run. So down 1 and right 2. Now if I went and I used this one, it would say that I go up 1 and left 2. So up 1 and left 2. I should end up with the same line there with the same slope. Okay, I can go either one of them to make my graph here. Okay, so make sure that that you go and do that. I could have done just the 2 points in green, but adding that extra blue dot is better for us. Let's draw the line in, and we're set to go. Okay, again, if you wanted to, you can put the arrows at the end. This line goes on forever in both directions. In fact, let's put the arrows at the end. My line just doesn't have an arrows at the end. Make sure you put the arrows at the end. Okay, when I look at this one, y equals x minus 3. I want the slope, that's the number in front of the x. Remember that there's a lazy 1 in front of that x, so the number in front of the x is 1. I want it to be a fraction, so I'm going to put it as 1 over 1. Now my y-intercept in this problem is negative 3. So I start at negative 3. That's my starting point, the y-intercept. Rise over run, my slope is up 1 and right 1. So I go up 1 and right 1, up 1 and right 1, up 1 and right 1, up 1 and right 1. Have a nice little line there. Remember that I could have written this as negative 1 over negative 1, so I could go down 1 and left 1, and that would have been fine too. Okay, don't use the words up and over. Okay, we want to use, if you say up, then you want to change over to either you're going right or you're going left. Okay, so in this case, if I use the one in the slope in black here, I went up 1 and right 1. And the slope here, I go down 1 and left 1. Okay, and so don't use the word over, because over doesn't tell you which direction you're actually going. Let's try the line in. And there you go. There's y equals 1x minus 3. Okay, take some time, finish up the worksheet that you have, going through and graphing these problems.